At the Su family's heir recognition banquet, I was publicly exposed as the fake young master. The real young master, Su Ming, pointed his finger at my nose, his spirits soaring. "Suja, you thief, you've occupied my life for 20 years. My parents, tears streaming down their faces, looked at Su Ming, filled with guilt. All the guests were waiting to see me break down, kneel, and weep bitterly. But I, under everyone's watchful eyes, slowly and methodically cut the last piece of top-grade Wagyu beef on my plate, put it in my mouth, and squinted my eyes in bliss. Delicious. Finally, I can clock out. Beneath the luxurious crystal chandelier of the Su family villa, the atmosphere was as heavy as a frozen block of iron. I, Suja, the fake young master, raised by the Su family for 20 years, was the focus of the entire room. Across from me, Su Ming, the real young master, supposedly found in some impoverished mountain valley, was staring at me with a venomous gaze. His face was a mixture of irrepressible excitement and bitter resentment, as if I weren't a person, but the personification of his stolen life. "Suse, you thief. You've enjoyed everything that should have been mine, driving my sports cars, living in my mansion, and even my fiancée was yours." He practically roared these words, his gaze sweeping towards a stunningly beautiful woman sitting not far away. Su Bindian, the icy female CEO worth hundreds of billions, my fiancée. She was dressed in a high couture black evening gown that hugged her devilishly seductive figure, but her world-toppling face was as cold as a Siberian current. She didn't look at Su Ming, nor did she look at me. She simply held her red wine glass, swirling it gently, as if the grand family drama unfolding before her was nothing more than a boring farce. My adoptive parents, Su Haishan and Li Rong, were holding Su Ming, one on each side, weeping uncontrollably. "Son, it's Mom and Dad who have wronged you. Oh, my dear son, you've suffered so much." The surrounding guests whispered among themselves, their gazes towards me filled with a mixture of pity, contempt, and schadenfreude. They were all waiting for me to lose control, to argue, to kneel and beg for mercy, to stage a heart-wrenching melodrama. However, my attention was entirely on the last piece of A5 Wagyu on the plate in front of me, pan-seared with butter by a top chef, locking in the rich juices, revealing a tempting pinkness when cut. I ignored all the surrounding noise, elegantly cutting off the last small piece with my knife and fork and placing it in my mouth. The juices exploded in my mouth, the rich, buttery flavor instantly conquering my taste buds. It was so damn delicious. I squinted my eyes in bliss and let out a sigh of heartfelt contentment. It had been 3 years since I transmigrated into this world, playing the role of an ignorant, profligate young master, doing nothing but eating, drinking, and waiting for the plot to begin. Now it had finally begun. In my mind, a mechanical voice sounded. Ding! Core plot, the real and fake young master, has officially commenced. Host's lie-flat system has been activated. Beginner's mission: relinquish the identity of the Su family's fake young master and break off the engagement with the female CEO, Su Bingyan. Mission reward: 100 million in cash, God-tier driving skills. The smile at the corner of my mouth widened. Finally, I could stop acting and justifiably lie flat. I put down my knife and fork, wiped my mouth with a napkin, and raised my head to meet Su Ming's murderous gaze. "Are you done?" I asked. Su Ming was taken aback, seemingly not expecting this kind of reaction from me. I didn't wait for his answer. I stood up and looked at my adoptive parents. "Dad, Mom," I began calmly, "since your biological son is back, it's time for me to leave. For the past 20 years of raising me, I will never forget your kindness. But I really have nothing to repay you with, so let's just leave it at that." After speaking, I bowed to them. Su Haishan and Li Rong were both stunned, so much so that they forgot to let their tears fall. They had imagined all my possible reactions, but they had never expected such a clean and decisive farewell. Li Rong's lips moved, as if she wanted to say something. I didn't give her the chance. I turned to Su Ming and smiled. "Congratulations on returning to where you belong. This house, these cars, they're all yours now. Oh, right, and her." I pointed at Su Bingyan. "Your fiancée. I'm returning her to you now." With that, I took a step and prepared to walk towards the villa's main entrance. The entire hall fell into a deathly silence. Everyone was dumbfounded by my unconventional actions. No crying, no fuss, not even trying to fight for it. He's just leaving? Su Ming's face turned the color of a pig's liver. He felt as if a punch thrown with all his might had landed on a ball of cotton. He had prepared countless insults for me, designed numerous scenarios to humiliate me. But I wasn't playing along at all. Stop, he roared. Suja, you're just leaving like that. You stole 20 years of my life, and you think you can just dismiss it with a casual, let it be? I stopped and looked back at him, a little impatient. What else? You want me to kowtow and apologize? Or should I vomit up all the food I've eaten over the past 20 years and get it back to you? I cleaned out my ear. Don't waste my time. I still need to find a place to sleep. You, Su Ming trembled with anger. Just then, the silent ice beauty, Su Bingyin, finally made a move. She put down her wine glass, the crisp sound attracting everyone's attention. She stood up and walked towards me with elegant steps, her high heels making a da-da-da sound on the smooth marble floor. Everyone's heart was in their throat. The female CEO was about to speak. Was she going to humiliate this fake young master who had been kicked out, or would she announce her engagement to the real heir, Su Ming? A glimmer of anticipation also flickered in Su Ming's eyes. Su Bingyin was the most perfect woman in his fantasies, and he couldn't wait to see her scorn Su Zhe and then fall into his arms. Su Bingyin walked up to me, those frosty phoenix eyes examining me at such a close distance for the first time. She was half a head shorter than me and exuded a cool, fragrant scent. Su Zhe, her red lips parted slightly, her voice as cold as her persona. Our engagement is not yet called off. I was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Well, it is now. Miss Su, congratulations, you're free. I thought she would say, okay. But she furrowed her beautiful brows slightly. Who gave you the right to unilaterally break off the engagement? Her voice carried a hint of unquestionable authority. Our engagement was arranged by the old masters of both families. It's not your place to call it off. Me? Question mark. Hold on, miss, did you grab the wrong script? Haven't you always looked down on me, this good-for-nothing dandy, and wish you could kick me to the curb sooner? Now that I'm taking the initiative to withdraw, why are you unhappy? System warning. Mission not complete. Host, please immediately draw a clear line with Su Bingyin. I frowned, looking at this woman who wasn't playing by the rules. Miss Su, are you mistaken? I have nothing now. I'm just a pauper. You still want to be tied to a pauper like me? Su Bingyin snorted coldly, a hint of inquiry in her eyes that I couldn't understand. Is the status of the Su family's young master so unimportant to you? What else? I spread my hands. It's just a status, not as comfortable as lying flat. This sentence seemed to crack the frost in Su Bingyin's eyes. She stared at me as if she could make a flower bloom on my face. And beside us, Su Ming's face had completely darkened. This was his leading lady. This was the ice-cold CEO who was supposed to see him in a new light after his triumphant return. Why was she stopping this imposter now? Bingyin, Su Ming couldn't help but speak, his tone tinged with urgency. Don't be deceived by him. He must be feigning retreat to gain your sympathy. Su Bingyin didn't even bother to spare him a glance. She just looked at me and said, word for word, Su Zhe, until I say we can break it off, you are still my fiancée. After speaking, she did something that made everyone's jaws drop. She extended her fair, jade-like hand and naturally linked her arm with mine. Let's go, I'll see you out. My whole body stiffened. The soft and slightly cool touch on my arm and the cold fragrance lingering at the tip of my nose all reminded me that this was not a hallucination. The ice-cold female CEO, Su Bingyin, had taken the initiative to hold the arm of me, the fake young master who had just been kicked out. Was she insane? The jaws of all the guests in the hall hit the floor. Su Ming's eyes instantly turned red, the flames of jealousy almost spewing out of their sockets to burn me to ashes. Su Bingyan, what do you mean? He roared, losing his composure. I am the heir to the Su family. I am your fiancé. Su Bingyin finally deigned to turn her gaze to him, but her look was colder than if she were looking at a stranger. First, my name is Su Bingyin, not for you to call. Second, who my fiancé is for me to decide, not the Su family. Third, she paused, a sarcastic curve gracing her red lips. You're too loud. With that, she ignored the petrified Su Ming and, with her arm linked in mine, walked straight towards the main entrance. I was half dragged, half led by her, my mind a complete mess. This plot isn't right. According to the original plot of the book, Su Bingyan was supposed to announce the annulment of our engagement on the spot after confirming I was the fake young master. Then, she would show a little interest in Su Ming, this potential stock, to pave the way for their future romance. But what is she playing at now? System warning. The host is severely deviating from the mission objective. Please shake off Su Bingyan immediately and complete the annulment. I came back to my senses and quickly tried to break free from her hand. Miss Su, President Su, calm down. I lowered my voice. You don't have to joke about your entire life just to spite him, do you? Su Bingyan didn't stop, walking straight towards the fiery red Ferrari at the entrance without a sideways glance. I'm not joking. Her voice was still icy. I'm just suddenly a little curious about you. Curious? I was completely bewildered. What's there to be curious about me? Before I could finish, I suddenly understood. My reaction today was too abnormal. A wealthy young master who had been pampered for 20 years, suddenly told he was a fake and kicked out of the house. The normal reaction would be either to break down or become hysterical. But I was too calm, even a little happy. This abnormality had piqued the interest of this woman with an extreme desire for control. Damn it, I overacted. I should have appeared more miserable, more wretched, to make her feel I was worthless and then have her kick me away. Curiosity killed the cat, President Su. I stopped and looked at her seriously. I'm just a useless waste. I used to rely on the Su family to support me. Now that the Su family doesn't want me, I can't even support myself. Being tied to me will bring you no benefits other than lowering your status. I tried to belittle myself to make her see reason. Su Bingyan also stopped, turning her head. Her beautiful phoenix eyes shimmered with a strange light in the night. Can't support yourself? She raised an eyebrow. Perfect. I can afford to. Me? System collapse countdown, 10, 9, 8. Holy crap. Big sister, stop playing around. If you keep this up, my mission will fail. Su Bingyan. I dropped the honorifics and used her full name. What on earth are you trying to do? I don't know you well, and I'm not interested in you. Can we just part on good terms? Hearing me call her by her full name, Su Bingyan's eyes flickered. Not only was she not angry, but the curve of her lips deepened. No, she uttered 2 words crisp and clean. Then, she pulled open the car door and said in a tone that brooked no argument, "Get in." Looking at her stunning face and those eyes filled with rejection is not an option. I felt a sense of trouble for the first time. This woman was a lunatic. Just as I hesitated, the villa's main gate was violently pushed open, and Su Ming rushed out with several bodyguards. "Suse, you stop right there." His eyes were bloodshot, looking crazed. "Let go of Bingyan." Behind him, Su Haishan and Li Rong also chased out, panting. "Bingyan, what are you doing? Stop fooling around," Li Rong said anxiously. Su Bingyan shot them a cold glance, then looked at me, her tone tinged with amusement. "See? They're all anxious. If you leave with me now, he will hate you to death." I understood. She was deliberately provoking Su Ming. As for why, perhaps she simply couldn't stand Su Ming's smug, triumphant face, or perhaps she had genuinely developed a strong interest in me, this abnormal toy. Whatever the reason, I had to get away immediately. I took a deep breath, preparing to refuse her forcefully. The system in my mind suddenly sounded again. Ding! An unexpected situation has been detected. Issuing an emergency side quest. Quest name: The Queen's Desire to Conquer. Quest content: Go with a mistake. Temporarily accept Su Bingyan's protection to further stimulate her curiosity and desire to conquer. Quest reward: God-tier combat skills, charm +10. Me? Question mark. Why is this system as unpredictable as Su Bingyan? Just a moment ago, it was warning me about mission failure, and now it wants me to go with a mistake? However, God-tier combat skills. Glancing at the menacing Su Ming and his bodyguards rushing over, I suddenly felt that this reward was very practical. Okay, I changed my mind and said a single, decisive word to Su Bingyan. Then, I opened the car door and sat in the passenger seat. Su Bingyan was taken aback, seemingly not expecting me to change my mind so quickly, but she then showed a victorious smile, got into the driver's seat, and started the car. Vroom! The Ferrari's engine roared to life. A second before Su Ming and his men could reach us, it shot away like a bolt of red lightning, disappearing into the dust. In the rearview mirror, Su Ming's face, twisted with anger, grew smaller and smaller, finally becoming a blurry dot. A brief silence fell over the car. Su Bingyan focused on driving, the lines of her profile appearing exceptionally delicate and captivating under the city's neon lights. "Why did you change your mind again?" she suddenly asked. "Because I discovered that living off a woman seems easier than struggling on my own." I leaned back against the seat and said lazily, "Since CEO Su is willing to support me, why should I refuse?" I deliberately answered in a cynical, devil-may-care tone. "To deal with a proud woman like her, the more you go along with her, the more uninteresting she finds you. You have to act like a scoundrel to keep her hooked." Sure enough, Su Bingyan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Suja, you'd better be clear about one thing. I'm not running a charity." Her voice turned 3 parts colder. "I'm just interested in your performance today. The moment I lose interest, I'll throw you away at any time. Doesn't matter to me." I yawned. A day of free food and lodging is a day gained. "By the way, CEO Su, do you have any A5 Wagyu at your place? I didn't get to eat my fill just now." Su Bingyan fell silent. Through the reflection in the car window, I saw the first crack appear on her icy face. It seemed to be speechlessness. That's more like it. Keep this up. As long as I can make her think I'm a lost cause, a hopeless waste of space, she'll quickly lose interest in me. When that happens, my novice mission will be complete. The car sped along, finally stopping in front of a luxury apartment building on the top floor in the city center. "Get out." Su Bingyan unbuckled her seatbelt. I followed her into a private elevator that went directly to the top floor. The elevator doors opened to a supersized flat, its design minimalist yet exuding luxury at every turn. Beyond the massive floor-to-ceiling windows lay the brilliant night view of the entire city. "Your room is over there." Su Bingyan pointed to a room at the end of the hallway. "If you need anything, tell the housekeeper." With that, she walked straight to her master bedroom, seemingly having no intention of paying me any more attention. "Suited me just fine." Whistling, I sauntered towards my new room. I pushed the door open. The decor and facilities inside were even better than my room at the Su family's house. Satisfied, I threw myself onto the large bed, which looked expensive and stretched out comfortably. "System, where's my reward?" I chanted silently in my mind. Ding! Side quest, the Queen's desire to conquer, phase complete. Reward God-tier combat skills has been issued. Charisma +10 has taken effect. Instantly, a massive flow of information surged into my mind. The weak points of human joints, muscle exertion techniques, the essence of various fighting styles. Countless pieces of knowledge were deeply imprinted in my muscle memory, as if I were born with them. I felt my body brimming with explosive power. At the same time, I sensed a subtle change in the contours of my face, and my aura had become more attractive. Not bad at all. Just as I was about to enjoy my first night of lazing around, a knock came at the door. "Knock, knock." "Too lazy to move?" I called out. "Who is it?" A respectful female voice came from outside. "Mr. Su, I am the housekeeper here. CEO Su has asked you to come over. She is waiting for you in the study." I frowned. What is this woman up to now? I grudgingly climbed out of bed and followed the female housekeeper to the study door. "CEO Su is inside." The housekeeper bowed and retreated. I pushed the door open, and a faint scent of sandalwood drifted out. The study was huge, with an entire wall lined with bookshelves. Su Bingyan was sitting behind a large mahogany desk, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses and reviewing documents. Under the light, she looked less cold and possessed more of an intellectual, abstinent kind of beauty. Hearing me enter, she looked up, pushed her glasses up, and gestured with her eyes for me to sit in the chair opposite her. "Seat." I sat down flamboyantly and crossed my legs. "CEO Su, You're not sleeping this late at night. Did you call me here to admire you while you work? How's the overtime pay calculated? Su Bingyin ignored my glib remarks. She took a document out of a drawer and pushed it in front of me. Take a look. I picked it up and saw a few large words on the cover. Prenuptial agreement. I raised an eyebrow and opened the agreement. The clauses inside were written in great detail, but they could be summarized in one sentence. After marriage, I, Suja, shall not interfere in any of Su Bingyin's personal affairs or company decisions, and shall not have any ambiguous relationships with other women. In return, Su Bingyin will be responsible for all my expenses and provide a monthly allowance of 1 million. At the end of the agreement was the divorce clause. If Su Bingyin initiated the divorce, I would receive a property in the city center and 10 million in cash as compensation. If I initiate a divorce or violate any clause in this agreement, I will leave with nothing. Hey, I laughed. Isn't this just a high-end sponsorship contract, and with unreasonable terms at that? How about it? Su Bingyin looked at me, her gaze behind the lenses as sharp as a knife. Sign it, and you can continue to live your life of squandering money. Don't sign, and I'll have someone throw you out right now. She thought that I, good-for-nothing, who had just been kicked out of his family, would sign my name without hesitation when faced with such conditions. After all, for a penniless man who had nothing, this was like a pie falling from the sky. I tossed the agreement on the table, leaned back in my chair, and rested my hands behind my head, looking at her with a playful expression. CEO Su, are you mistaken about something? Su Bingyin frowned slightly. What do you mean? I wagged a finger. This agreement of yours holds no attraction for me. Su Bingyin's eyes turned cold. 1 million a month isn't enough for you to spend? Whether it's enough is one thing, but I don't like to be bound by rules and regulations, I said lazily. I'm a person without great ambitions. I just like to be free. If you don't let me go out and play with other girls, you might as well kill me. I deliberately acted like an incorrigible scumbag. The purpose was to make her disgusted with me, and then kick me out quickly. Su Bingyin's face indeed darkened, and the temperature in the study seemed to drop by several degrees. Suja, don't push your luck. I'm not pushing my luck. I'm telling the truth. I spread my hands. CEO Su, if you want to find an obedient pet, there's a line of men waiting outside. But I am not a pet. After speaking, I stood up, ready to leave. Wait, Su Bingyin stopped me. I turned back and saw her take off her glasses and pinch the bridge of her nose as if she had a headache. This was the first time I had seen the emotion of fatigue on her face. What do you want? She asked, her voice carrying a hint of imperceptible compromise. I said, I want freedom. Besides freedom. I stroked my chin, pretending to think, and then my eyes lit up. How about this? I can sign the agreement, but you have to add a condition. A trace of vigilance flashed in Su Bingyin's eyes. What condition? Very simple. I grinned. I'll help you get rid of Su Ming, so that he can never bother you again. In exchange, after it's done, our marriage contract will be automatically terminated, and you have to give me another 100 million. This was advancing by retreating. I knew that Su Bingyin definitely didn't believe that a good-for-nothing like me could get rid of Su Ming. Su Ming was now the rightful heir of the Su family, with the entire Su group behind him. What did a penniless man like me have to fight him with? I proposed this condition precisely to make her think I was whimsical, a fool who didn't know his own limits. As expected, Su Bingyin looked at me as if she were looking at an idiot. You? Get rid of Su Ming. She looked as if she had heard the funniest joke of the century. Suja, are you still dreaming? Do you know how much power the Su group has in Jinghai City? Do you know how many resources Su Ming can mobilize now? Of course I know. I smiled confidently. But so what? In my eyes, he's just a buffoon. My confidence slowly turned to ridicule in Su Bingyin's eyes into scrutiny. She couldn't see through me. From my unusual behavior at the Su family banquet to the bold claims I was making in front of her now, my whole being exuded a mystery that she couldn't comprehend. She was a woman accustomed to controlling everything, and I was the variable she couldn't control. This feeling made her very unhappy, but it also damnably attracted her. Fine. To my surprise, she actually agreed. I agree. Su Bingyin put her glasses back on, resuming her iceberg CEO demeanor. I will have my lawyer amend the agreement. As long as you can make Su Ming completely disappear from my world, I will give you the 100 million and your freedom. She paused, then added, but if you can't do it, or if Su Ming gets rid of you instead, then don't blame me for standing by and doing nothing. Moreover, you must sign the original agreement and be my canary obediently until I get tired of you. It's a deal. I snapped my fingers. This was exactly the result I wanted. As long as I accidentally lost to Su Ming, I could be logically abandoned by her, and then I could go off and live a happy life with the system rewards. Perfect. You can go out now. Su Bingyin ordered me to leave. I was in a great mood, whistling as I walked out of the study. Watching my carefree back, Su Bingyin's gaze grew deeper. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. Hello. Help me investigate someone, Suja. Yes, the fake young master of the Su family. I want all his information from birth until now. The more detailed, the better, including the color of his underwear. Hanging up the phone, she looked at the night view outside the window and murmured to herself, Suja, what kind of person are you really? I returned to my room, happily preparing for bed. However, not long after I lay down, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I casually answered it. Hello? A cold, very familiar voice came from the other end of the line. Suja, you son of a bitch, do you think you're safe just because you've latched on to Su Bingyin? It was Su Ming. Let me tell you, you're dead. His voice was filled with venom and madness. Su Bingyin is mine. Jinghai City is my territory too. I'll make you kneel before me and beg like a dog. Oh, I replied faintly. My cold reaction infuriated Su Ming even more. Is that the only fucking thing you can say? He roared. Are you feeling smug right now? Just you wait. I'll wipe that smile off your face soon enough. I'll show you the consequences of crossing me. So, you called just to spout a few threats? I was getting impatient. Can we get to something real? I'm waiting. You. Su Ming seemed to be choked, speechless by my words. His heavy breathing came through the phone. After a few seconds, he suddenly sneered. Fine, very good. Suja, you got guts. You want something real? I'll grant you your wish. Right now, immediately, get your ass over to the abandoned factory in the south of the city. Come alone. If you don't dare to come, I'll throw your childhood sweetheart, Lin Wanxing, the one who teaches at the art academy, off the building. My pupils contracted sharply. Lin Wanxing. The name was like a needle, instantly piercing my mind. She was the original owner's one true love, a gentle and kind woman from Jiangnan with an orchid-like grace, now a piano teacher at the Jinghai Art Academy. In the original book's plot, Su Ming did go after Lin Wanxing for revenge, but that was supposed to happen much later in the story. I never expected my butterfly effect would cause it to happen so much sooner. Suja, did you hear me? On the other end, Su Ming's voice was filled with a triumphant, malicious grin. I'll give you half an hour. The abandoned factory in the south of the city. For every minute you're late, I'll cut her pretty face. Remember, come alone, and don't call the police, or you can come and collect her corpse. With that, he hung up. I gripped my phone, my gaze turning icy in an instant. I may prefer to lie low, but some people are untouchable. Lin Wanxing was the original owner's only warmth in this world. Since I've taken over his body, I have to bear this karma. Besides, that idiot Su Ming has crossed my bottom line. I had originally planned to play with him slowly, letting him sink into despair bit by bit. Now it seems that's no longer necessary. Some people will never learn what pain is until you cripple them in one go. Without the slightest hesitation, I immediately changed my clothes and prepared to leave. Just as I walked into the living room, I saw Su Bingyin in a silk nightgown, standing by the French window with a glass of red wine in her hand. She didn't seem to be asleep, as if she were waiting for me. Where are you going? She asked without turning her head. Out to take care of something. Su Ming's call. I gave her a surprised glance. This woman was surprisingly well informed. Yes, I didn't deny it. He's threatening you with Lin Wanxing? She asked again. My gaze sharpened. You investigated me? Su Bingyin turned around, her face expressionless. I'm just getting to know my partner. Need help? I could send my bodyguards with you. No need. I refused directly. Are you kidding? If I take her men, who gets a credit? Do I still want my 100 million or not? Besides, to deal with trash like Su Ming, I'm more than enough on my own. I'm just going to catch up with an old friend. I forced a relaxed smile. I'll be back soon. Su Bingyan gave me a deep look and didn't insist further. Be careful, she advised, completely out of character. I waved my hand and walked into the elevator. Watching the elevator doors slowly close, Su Bingyan took out her phone and dialed that number again. Follow him. Protect him. Remember, unless his life is in danger, do not interfere. I want to see how he intends to solve Su Ming. The abandoned factory in the south of the city. This place used to be a chemical plant, later abandoned due to severe pollution. For several kilometers around, it's deserted. I took a taxi here. The way the driver looked at me, it was as if he was looking at a fool heading to his death. Inside the factory, the lights were blazing. The moment I stepped inside, blinding headlights shone from all directions, making it impossible for me to open my eyes. A dozen vans formed a circle around the open space in the center of the factory. 100 thugs, armed with steel pipes and machetes, jumped out of the vans and surrounded me completely. In the center of the open space, Su Ming sat on a grand armchair, a cigar in his mouth, an arrogant look on his face. Beside him, Lin Wanqing was on her knees, her hands pinned behind her back by two large men, a gag stuffed in her mouth. Her pretty face was streaked with tears and filled with terror. When she saw me, she shook her head frantically, making muffled whimpering sounds. Seeing this, the rage in my heart instantly ignited. Su Ming. I walked towards him step by step, my voice as cold as ice. You really deserve to die. Seeing that I actually dared to come alone, Su Ming was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. Ha ha! Suja, you're a fucking romantic. To actually dare to come and die for a woman. He spat out his cigar, ground it under his foot, stood up, and walked over to me, looking down at me with the air of a victor. So, do you like the scene I prepared for you? He pointed to the 100 vicious thugs around us. These men are the best fighters in Jinghai City. Today, I'm going to beat you to death right in front of your beloved woman. He leaned close to my ear and said in a voice only we could hear, I'll break all 4 of your limbs first, make you watch like a dog. Then, I'll have my brothers one by one take good care of this beautiful teacher of yours. Ha ha ha. His laughter was filled with perversion and cruelty. I said nothing. I just watched him quietly, my gaze terrifyingly calm. But only I knew that my blood was pumping at an unprecedented rate, adrenaline surging through me. Countless techniques of the God-tier fighting style raced through my mind, searching for the fastest, most ruthless, and most direct method of attack. The fury came first, then the explosion. The emotion was in place. Do it. Su Ming took a step back, waved his hand, and gave the order. Beat him to death. Just leave him breathing. Roar. The 100 thugs, like sharks that had scented blood, roared and charged at me from all directions, brandishing their weapons. Lin Wanqing's eyes widened in terror, tears streaming down uncontrollably. On Su Ming's face was a cruel and triumphant smile. It was as if he could already see the miserable sight of me with broken bones, kneeling and begging for mercy. However, the next second, the smile on his face froze. I faced the tide of people rushing towards me, and not only did I not retreat, I advanced to meet them. A yellow-haired punk at the very front swung his steel pipe at my head with a vicious whistle. I tilted my body slightly, dodging it with ease. At the same time, my right hand shot out like lightning, grabbing his wrist and snapping it downwards. Crack! A crisp crack of breaking bone. The yellow-haired punk let out an inhuman scream, and the steel pipe in his hand clattered to the ground. Without pausing, I snatched the pipe and followed through with a sweeping strike. Thump! 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 3 or 4 thugs who were rushing forward were hit in the knees by my pipe, and they all fell to their knees, howling in agony and clutching their legs. My movements were fluid, without a single wasted motion. Every dodge was perfect. Every attack landed precisely on an enemy's most vulnerable joint. The God-tier fighting style was this terrifying. This was no longer a brawl, but a one-sided slaughter. I was like a tiger charging into a flock of sheep. The steel pipe in my hand had become a grim reaper's scythe. Everywhere I went, bodies flew, and the cries of agony from broken bones rose and fell. In less than a minute, more than half of the 100 thugs, who had been so menacing just moments before, were already down. The rest of them were scared out of their wits. They looked at me as if I were a demon crawled out of hell, backing away step by step, no longer daring to approach. The entire factory was filled with nothing but the wails of the injured and the drip of blood falling from the steel pipe in my hand. Carrying the steel pipe, I walked, step by step, towards a completely dumbfounded Su Ming. You. Su Ming's lips trembled. His face was as white as a sheet, and from his crotch, a foul-smelling liquid slowly trickled down. He had pissed himself in fear. You're not human. You're a devil. He backed away incoherently until he tripped over the armchair and fell, landing on his ass on the ground. I walked up to him, looking down at him from above. Now, do you still like this scene? I slowly raised the steel pipe in my hand. Looking at the blood-stained steel pipe in my hand, Su Ming completely broke down. He scrambled backwards on his hands and feet, snot and tears streaming down his face, completely devoid of his earlier arrogance. Don't kill me. Su-se, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I'm the heir to the Su family. If you kill me, you won't live either. My dad won't let you go. He begged for mercy incoherently, bringing up his status in an attempt to make me hesitate. I laughed, an incredibly cold laugh. The Su family? I stomped on his chest, the immense force instantly making him unable to breathe, his face turning purple. You think I care? I leaned down and patted his fear-distorted face with the steel pipe. I gave you a chance, Su Ming, but you shouldn't have touched her. My gaze swept towards Lin Wanqing, who was also dumbfounded not far away. The two burly men guarding her had long since abandoned her and were cowering in a corner, trembling. The cloth strip in Lin Wanqing's mouth had fallen out at some point. She stared at me blankly, her beautiful eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Was this still the sunny, cheerful, and even somewhat weak Su she remembered? This man, who had descended like a demon god and single-handedly taken down over 100 thugs, was he really him? I withdrew my gaze and looked back at Su Ming under my foot. Tell me, how do you want to die? No, don't. Su Ming was scared out of his wits. Do you want money? I'll give you money. 100 million. 1 billion. As long as you let me go. Money. I shook my head. I don't need it. Then what do you want? Women? Power? I can give you anything. Just spare my life. I don't want anything. I slowly raised the steel pipe and aimed it at his right leg. I just want you to feel pain. Ah! A shrill scream pierced the night sky. I showed no mercy, and with one strike, I shattered his leg bone. The intense pain caused Su Ming's body to curl up like a shrimp, his eyes almost bulging out of their sockets. You can't take it already? I sneered, aiming the steel pipe at his other leg. I said I would break all 4 of your limbs. No, I'm begging you. Let me go. Su Ming cried and screamed, the stench of urine from his crotch growing stronger. Too late. Crack. Another sound of bone fracturing. Su Ming's screams had already become hoarse. I threw away the steel pipe and grabbed his hand. 2 more limbs. Crack. Crack. Expressionlessly, I broke both of his arms. With that, all 4 limbs were broken. Su Ming lay paralyzed on the ground like a pile of mud, unable to make any sound other than weak gasps and groans. The way he looked at me was filled with endless fear and venomous hatred. I knew he hated me to the bone, but it didn't matter anymore. A cripple, no matter how much hatred he held, couldn't stir up any trouble. I stood up, not giving him another glance, and turned to walk towards Lin Wanqing. She was still kneeling on the ground, her body trembling slightly, her eyes filled with complex emotions as she looked at me. I walked over to her, took off my jacket, and draped it over her shoulders, which were cold from fear. It's okay now. My voice returned to its usual gentleness, as if the cruel and ruthless demon from just a moment ago was merely an illusion. Lin Wanqing looked at me, and tears welled up in her eyes again, but this time it wasn't out of fear. She suddenly threw herself into my arms and burst into tears. Su-se, I was so scared. I thought I'd never see you again. Her soft body trembled in my arms, her tearful voice filled with lingering fear and grievance. I gently patted her back and comforted her softly. It's okay, it's all over. I'm here. No one will ever dare to bully you again. In the distance, inside an inconspicuous black car, Su Bingyin's bodyguard had witnessed everything through a pair of high-powered binoculars. His palms were covered in cold sweat. "Hello, Metsu," he reported to Su Bingyin in a trembling voice. "The situation is a bit beyond expectations. Is he hurt?" On the other end of the line, Su Bingyin's voice was calm. "No, he's not." The bodyguard swallowed hard. "The ones who are hurt are Su Ming and his 100-plus men. One person, less than 5 minutes, took care of all of them. Su Ming had all 4 of his limbs broken." The other end of the line fell into a long silence. The bodyguard could even hear his own heart pounding violently. After a long while, Su Bingyin's voice finally came through again, carrying a strange fluctuation he had never heard before. "I understand. Continue to follow them and ensure they leave safely." Hanging up the phone, the bodyguard looked at the young man in the distance who was gently holding the girl and comforting her, and felt his entire worldview subverted. What the fuck? Is this still the rumored good-for-nothing of the Su family? This is clearly a prehistoric beast wrapped in human skin. After a long while of my comforting, Lin Wanqing's emotions slowly calmed down. I helped her up, ready to leave this bloody place. "Suzhou, what about them?" Lin Wanqing asked with some worry, looking at the injured people all over the ground and Su Ming, who was like a dead dog. "Don't worry, they won't die," I said lightly. "I've already called for an ambulance and the police. Next, let them fight it out among themselves." Mass brawling, kidnapping, and extortion were enough to keep Su Ming busy for a while. Even if the Su family could get him out, as a disabled person with all 4 limbs crippled, he would no longer pose any threat. I supported Lin Wanqing and walked out of the abandoned factory. Just as we reached the roadside, a black Rolls-Royce silently pulled up in front of us. The car window rolled down, revealing an unexpected face. "Su Bingying." She actually came in person. She didn't look at me. Her gaze fell on Lin Wanqing, whom I was supporting, a hint of scrutiny in her eyes. "Get in the car." She was concise. Intimidated by her aura, Lin Wanqing subconsciously tightened her grip on my arm. I patted her hand, signaling her to relax. Then I said to Su Bingyin, "We could just get a taxi back. No need to trouble CEO Su." I didn't want Lin Wanqing to get involved with this crazy woman. Su Bingyin raised an eyebrow, her voice turning a few degrees colder. "Suzhou, have you forgotten our agreement? Before the mission is complete, you must report your whereabouts to me. Now, immediately get in the car." Her tone left no room for refusal. I frowned, knowing that I couldn't avoid it tonight. "All right." I opened the rear door, let Lin Wanqing get in first, and then got in myself. The car started smoothly, and the atmosphere inside the cabin was somewhat eerily quiet. Lin Wanqing seemed a little cramped and uneasy, while Su Bingyin, through the rearview mirror, was sizing us up without a change in expression. Finally, her gaze landed on me. "You're a good fighter." She suddenly spoke, breaking the silence. "I'm all right. Practiced a few farmers' moves. Nothing presentable." I spouted nonsense casually. I couldn't possibly tell her that I had a cheat system. Could I? Su Bingyin snorted coldly, clearly not believing my bullshit. "Suzhou, how many other secrets do you have?" She looked at me through the rearview mirror, her gaze as sharp as if it wanted to dissect me entirely. A dandy rumored to be too weak to truss a chicken, able to take down over 100 armed thugs by himself? This could no longer be explained by practiced a few days. This was a monster. A secret is a secret because if you say it, it's not interesting anymore, right? I leaned back in my seat and replied lazily. I didn't want to get too entangled with her on this issue. Lin Wanqing, next to me, was clearly confused and uneasy about our conversation. She looked at me, then at Su Bingyin driving in front, and asked me in a low voice, "Suzhou, who is this?" "Oh, her." I pointed at Su Bingyin. "My creditor." "Creditor?" Lin Wanqing was even more confused. Su Bingyin's hand on the steering wheel suddenly tightened, and the car swayed with it. She shot me a fierce glare through the rearview mirror, a look that seemed to say, "You just wait." I shrugged innocently. Was I wrong? I still owed her the mission of dealing with Su Ming. The car soon arrived at the faculty apartment building of the Jinghai Academy of Arts. "Wanqing, you go up first. Get some good rest. You were frightened today." I helped Lin Wanqing out of the car and said softly. Lin Wanqing nodded, but her eyes were full of worry. "Suja, what about you? The Su family." "Don't worry, I can handle it." I gave her a reassuring smile. "Don't overthink it. I'll come see you tomorrow." After watching Lin Wanxing walk into the apartment building, I got back into the car. As soon as I got in, Su Bingyan stepped on the gas, and a Rolls-Royce drove away smoothly and quickly. "Suja, you've grown some balls," she said coldly, her tone unfriendly. "What's wrong, CEO Su? Am I not carrying out the mission?" I asked, feigning ignorance. "Carrying out the mission," she sneered. "You call what just happened carrying out the mission? You almost beat him to death. Do you know that Su Haishan has almost blown up the Jinghai City Police Department's phone line?" "Oh, isn't that just perfect?" I said nonchalantly. "His son committed kidnapping, extortion, and mass brawling, and the evidence is solid. No matter how capable he is, he still has to play by the rules, right?" "Rules?" Su Bingyan looked as if she had heard a joke. "In Jinghai, the Su family's power is sometimes greater than the rules. Su Ming will be bailed out soon, and you, Suja, will face the Su family's insane retribution." "So what?" I looked at her, my eyes calm. "I'll deal with whatever they throw at me. If I want to play, I'll play along to the end." My calmness and confidence once again plunged Su Bingyan into silence. She found that she could see through me less and less. This man seemed to have no weaknesses at all. He didn't care about money, about power, or even about his own safety. He was like a monster who had jumped out of the three realms, not belonging to the five elements. "Aren't you afraid of implicating that childhood sweetheart of yours?" Su Bingyan changed her angle, trying to find my soft spot. My eyes turned cold. "She will be fine," I said, word by word. "If the Su family dares to touch a single hair on her head again, I guarantee the Su family will completely disappear from Jinghai City." My tone was flat when I said this, but the temperature inside the car seemed to drop by more than 10 degrees in an instant. From the rearview mirror, Su Bingyan saw the heart-stopping, killing intent that flashed in my eyes. At that moment, she had no doubt that I was telling the truth. This man really dared, and really could, do it. She suddenly felt her mouth go dry, and her heart began to beat uncontrollably faster. It was a feeling mixed with danger, excitement, and a hint of exhilaration. In her more than 20 years of life, it was the first time she had felt such an out-of-control emotion from a man. "All right." She took a deep breath, suppressing the turmoil in her heart. "I will help you handle the Su family's affairs. Before our agreement ends, I will ensure the safety of you and your people." This was her active gesture of goodwill, and also a kind of investment. She wanted to see just how high this potential stock of mine could rise. Ding! Detected an increase in female lead Su Bingyan's favorability. New side quest issued. Quest name: Tip of the Iceberg quest content. In the upcoming retaliation from the Su family, display strength or connections that exceed Su Bingyan's imagination, subverting her perception of you once again. Quest reward: God-tier medical skills, cash 1 billion. Hearing the new quest, the corners of my mouth lifted slightly. God-tier medical skills? That was a good thing. It seemed it was time to stir the waters of Jinghai City a little more. The next day, I slept until I woke up naturally. I opened my eyes, and sunlight streamed into the room through the floor-to-ceiling windows, warm and pleasant. I picked up my phone and saw dozens of missed calls, all from Su Haishan and Li Rong. I couldn't be bothered with them and directly blacklisted their numbers. Then, I saw a message from Su Bingyan. "Su Ming has been bailed out. The Su Group's legal department is filing a lawsuit against you for intentional injury. Additionally, the Su family has used their connections to freeze all the bank cards under your name." Below the message, there was a transaction record. "Transfer in Yen 10 000 with a note, your pocket money." I smiled. This woman was quite perceptive. I got up, washed my face, changed my clothes, and prepared to go see Lin Wanxing. As soon as I walked out of my room, I saw Su Bingyan, also dressed in a sharp business suit, ready to go out. "Where are you going?" she asked. "To see a friend. I'll give you a ride." "No need. Get in the car." She interrupted me again with that tone that brooked no refusal. Helpless, I could only get into her car again. On the way to the art academy, Su Bingyan suddenly spoke. "This afternoon, there's a top-tier business reception in Jinghai. Many important figures will be there, including Old Master Chun of the Chun Group. You will accompany me. Old Master Chun? A piece of information flashed through my mind. Chun Xian, the anchor of Jinghai City, a former big shot in the military. After retiring, he founded the Chun Group. Although he no longer involved himself in business, his influence remained unmatched. In the original book's plot, this old master had hidden ailments from his years of military campaigns and was given a death sentence by all the famous doctors, with less than 3 months to live. Both the Su and Su families were trying every means to curry favor with the Chun family, hoping to get a piece of the Chun Group's massive cake after he died. And Su Ming, through a stroke of luck, found a divine doctor who could alleviate the old master's pain, thereby gaining the Chun family's favor and soaring to prominence. It seemed now this opportunity was about to fall to me. A reception? I feigned disinterest. Not interested. It's all just a bunch of old men. What's so fun about that? Old Master Chun is terminally ill. All the famous doctors in Jinghai are helpless. Su Bingyan looked at me, her words hinting at something. Are you interested in giving it a try? She was testing me. Because of the superhuman fighting ability I had displayed last night, she was beginning to suspect that I might be hiding my strength in other areas as well. For instance, medical skills? President Su, you think too highly of me. I threw my hands up. I only know how to fight, not how to heal. Besides, so many experts can't cure it. What can a layman like me do? The more I denied it, the heavier her suspicion grew. Su Bingyan gave me a deep look and said no more. But she had already made up her mind. This afternoon, she would bring me to the cocktail party, no matter what. She had a strong intuition. Su Zhe, this man, might truly be able to create a miracle. Jinghai Academy of Arts. Su Bingyan's car, parked downstairs from the apartment building, attracted a crowd of students. I won't go up with you, she said coolly, seemingly to avoid gossip. I was happy for the peace and quiet, unbuckling my seatbelt and getting out of the car. Arriving at Lin Wanqing's apartment, I rang the doorbell. Soon, the door opened. Lin Wanqing was wearing a casual, white house dress, her hair draped loosely over her shoulders. When she saw it was me, her beautiful eyes immediately filled with a gentle, smiling warmth. You're here. Came to see you. I walked into the room and saw her half-eaten breakfast still on the table. Have you eaten? I brought you your favorite Xiaolong bao. I held up the bag in my hand. You still remember. Lin Wanqing's gaze grew even gentler. She took the bag, her cheeks slightly flushed. Wait a moment, I'll go heat them up for you. Watching her busy figure in the kitchen, I felt a long-lost sense of tranquility in my heart. This kind of warm and simple feeling was something a strong-willed woman like Su Bingyan could never provide. Soon, the steaming Xiaolong bao were served. We sat across from each other, eating and chatting. Su Zhe, did you really sever ties with the Su family? Lin Wanqing was still a little worried. It's done. I have nothing to do with them anymore, I said, my words muffled as I ate a dumpling. Then what are your plans for the future? Don't know. I'll take it one step at a time. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I said with a carefree attitude. Lin Wanqing looked at me, seeming to want to say something, but hesitating. I knew what she wanted to say. She probably wanted to use her small savings to help me. Don't worry, I won't starve, I smiled, picking up a dumpling and bringing it to her lips. See? Don't I have someone keeping me now, living the good life? Lin Wanqing giggled at my teasing, opened her small mouth, and obediently ate the dumpling I fed her. Just as the atmosphere was perfect, my phone rang at an opportune moment. I picked it up and saw it was an unfamiliar local number. Frowning, I pressed the answer key. Hello, is this Mr. Suge? An authoritative, middle-aged man's voice came from the other end. This is he. Who is this? I am Director Wang from the Jinghai City Public Security Bureau. There's a matter I'd like you to come in and assist us with. I understood at once. The Su family's revenge had come, and they started with their trump card, having the director himself call me. What is it about? I asked, feigning ignorance. Regarding the case of the gang fight at the abandoned factory in the south of the city last night. Director Wang's voice betrayed no emotion. Mr. Su Ming has accused you of intentional injury, with particularly severe circumstances. We hope you will come in voluntarily to clarify the situation. And if I don't go? There were a few seconds of silence on the other end, Then the voice turned cold. Mr. Su, I am informing you, not consulting you. If you refuse to cooperate, we will have no choice but to take compulsory measures. A blatant threat. Fine, I'll be right there. I hung up, my face calm. Lin Wanqing looked at me with worry. Was that the police? Are they going to arrest you? It's nothing, just going to give a statement. I reassured her. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. I stood up to leave. But Lin Wanqing grabbed my hand, her eyes resolute. I'm going with you. I was stunned for a moment, then smiled. This girl, who appeared so gentle on the outside, was tougher than anyone on the inside. Okay, I didn't refuse. With her there, I might get to see an even more interesting scene unfold. We went downstairs together. Su Bingyin's Rolls-Royce was still parked where we had left it. Seeing us come down, she rolled down the window. Where are you going? The city bureau. Su Bingyin's eyes flickered, as if she had already guessed what was happening. Get in. At the entrance of the City Public Security Bureau, Su Haishan and Li Rong were already waiting there, flanked by the Su Corporation's top legal team. Seeing me get out a Rolls-Royce, Su Haishan and his wife's expressions turned ugly, especially when they saw Lin Wanqing by my side. Li Rong's eyes were filled with even more contempt and disgust. Su Se, you ungrateful wretch. The Su family raised you for 20 years, and this is how you repay us. Li Rong pointed at my nose and began to curse the moment she arrived. You severely injured Xiaoming. Do you have any humanity left? Su Haishan's face was ashen as well. Su Zhe, out of respect for the 20 years we raised you, I was going to leave you a way out. But you should never, ever have been so ruthless with Xiaoming. Today, I will make you pay. I looked at their self-righteous indignation and found it laughable. Humanity? You're talking to me about humanity? I sneered. When Su Ming kidnapped Wanqing and threatened to ruin her, why didn't you talk to him about humanity then? Now that he's crippled, you suddenly remember? Nonsense, Li Rong shrieked. Xiaoming would never do such a thing. It must have been you, you venomous-hearted scoundrel, who deliberately framed him, twisting black and white, confusing right and wrong. I couldn't be bothered to waste my breath on them anymore. Just then, a middle-aged man in a police uniform with an imposing air walked out. It was Chief Wang. Upon seeing Su Haishan, he immediately put on a smile. Chairman Su, what brings you here in person? You can leave a small matter like this to us. Chief Wang, for this matter, I must have an answer, Su Haishan said in a grave voice. Chief Wang nodded, then turned his gaze to me, the smile on his face vanishing instantly, replaced by an icy coldness. You are Su Zhe? I am. Cuff him and take him in. Chief Wang waved his hand and gave the order directly. 2 police officers immediately took out handcuffs and strode menacingly towards me. Lin Wanqing's face turned pale with fear, and she instinctively stood in front of me. You can't arrest him. He only did it to save me. It was self-defense. Self-defense? A lawyer next to Chief Wang sneered. Breaking all of someone's limbs, you call that self-defense? Little girl, I think you should worry about yourself first. You're suspected of harboring a criminal. We can prosecute you at any time. Lin Wanqing was too frightened to speak. Just as the 2 officers were about to put the handcuffs on me, Su Bingyin, who had been silent all this time, finally made her move. She got out of the car, took off her sunglasses, and her stunningly beautiful, icy face instantly captured everyone's attention. Chief Wang, what a display of authority. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried a heart-stopping sense of pressure. When Chief Wang saw Su Bingyin, his expression changed, and he forced a smile that was uglier than a grimace. Miss Su, what brings you here? Su Bingyin was someone he couldn't afford to offend. The Su family's power was in no way inferior to the Su family's, and possibly even greater. My man, and you dare to touch him? Su Bingyin walked to my side, her icy gaze sweeping over Chief Wang, Su Haishan, and the others. Who gave you the nerve? Cold sweat instantly broke out on Chief Wang's forehead. Miss Su, this is a misunderstanding. I didn't know Mr. Su was your man. You know now. Yes, I know now. Chief Wang nodded and bowed repeatedly. Then why haven't you released him? Yes. Chief Wang quickly waved at the 2 officers. What are you standing there for? Apologize to Mr. Su at once. The 2 officers were also stunned and quickly bowed to me in apology. Su Haishan and Li Rong's faces had turned the color of liver. They never expected Su Bingyan to openly turn against them for my sake. Su Bingyan! Su Haishan roared. What is the meaning of this? Are you going to oppose our Su family for this bastard? Chairman Su, watch your words. Su Bingyan's eyes grew cold. Su Zhe is now my Su Bingyan's fiancée. If you touch him, you touch me, and you touch the entire Su family. Have you thought this through? A single sentence, and the entire scene fell into dead silence. Fiancé. Everyone was stunned by this bombshell. Su Haishan and his wife turned deathly pale, looking as if they were about to collapse. They never dreamed that the fake son they had thrown out would, in the blink of an eye, become the son-in-law of the Su family, a family they could afford to offend even less. As for me, looking at Su Bingyan standing protectively in front of me, I felt nothing in my heart. I knew she was acting for me, and also for the Su family. She was demonstrating her value to me, and also using this method to force me to take her side. But she had still underestimated me. I, Su Zhe, have never needed to stand behind a woman. I gently pulled her aside, took a step forward, and faced the grim-faced Chief Wang directly. Chief Wang, is it? I smiled. To arrest someone, you need evidence. You say I intentionally harmed someone. Where is your proof? Su Ming is guilty of kidnapping and extortion, with both witnesses and material evidence. Why haven't you arrested him? I questioned Director Wang until he was speechless, breaking out in a cold sweat. Just then, the screech of tires pierced the air. Several black Audis with military license plates screeched to a halt at the police station's entrance. The car doors opened, and an old butler in a Zhongshan suit, looking vigorous and alert, strode over, flanked by a group of bodyguards in black. He walked directly up to me and, under everyone's stunned gaze, gave me a deep bow. Mr. Su, my master would like to invite you. Director Wang's legs turned to jelly at the sight of the old butler. Su Haishan and his wife gasped, because that old butler was Uncle Fu, the most trusted confidant of old Master Chen Xian of the Chen Group. The entire place fell into a dead silence. If Su Bingyan's appearance moments ago was like a stone tossed into a calm lake, then Uncle Fu's arrival was the equivalent of dropping a depth charge. The Chen family, they were the true titans of Jinghai City. In front of the Chens, both the Su and Su families were mere upstarts. And Uncle Fu, as old Master Chen Xian's closest associate, held a status in Jinghai City that surpassed even the heads of some prominent families. And now he had come in person and was bowing so deeply to Su Zhe, the fake young master who had been kicked out of his family. Everyone's mind went blank. Director Wang's cold sweat had already soaked the back of his police uniform. He looked at me, his eyes filled with terror and disbelief. Su Haishan and Li Rong were frozen in place as if struck by lightning, their mouths agape enough to fit an egg. This bastard and good-for-nothing in their eyes. What was his true identity? Why would both the Su and Chen families treat him with such high regard? Su Bingyan was also stunned. For the first time, an emotion called shock appeared in her icy phoenix eyes. She thought she had already estimated me highly, believing I was merely a master who had hidden his abilities. But she never imagined that I would also have connections to the Chen family. She had used all her contacts to investigate my background, and the report clearly stated that in the entire trajectory of my life, there was not a single intersection with the Chen family. What on earth was going on? I looked at the respectful Uncle Fu before me, my mind as clear as a mirror. This old man was definitely here because of Chen Xian's illness. It seemed the skills I had revealed last night had already reached old Master Chen's ears through certain channels. Your master? I asked, feigning confusion. I don't know any master. Uncle Fu remained in his bowing posture, his tone growing even more reverent. Mr. Su, you are a dragon among men. Please don't joke with us mortals. The old master's illness has stumped countless famous doctors. We heard that you possess heaven-defying abilities, so he specially sent this old servant to implore you to save him. As long as you are willing, the Chen family will pay any price. These words sent another massive shockwave through the onlookers. Heaven-defying abilities? Imploring him to save him. Could it be? The rumored terminal illness that even the imperial physicians from the capital were powerless against, Suja could cure it. How was that possible? He was only in his early 20s. Even if he had started learning medicine in the womb, he couldn't possibly have such skills. Su Haishan and his wife felt their worldview collapsing. The son they had raised for 20 years, who was worthless in their eyes, a good-for-nothing who only knew how to eat, drink, and be merry, had transformed into a divine doctor that even the Chun family had to humble themselves before. This was more absurd than the Arabian Nights. Li Rong's body swayed, and she nearly fainted, luckily caught by Su Haishan in time. No. Impossible. This must be a mistake, she muttered to herself, unable to accept this reality. I looked at Uncle Fu, a plan already forming in my mind. It's not impossible for me to help, I said lightly. Uncle Fu was overjoyed. Please, sir, state your terms. My gaze slowly swept over Director Wang's deathly pale face and the devastated Su Haishan and his wife. First, I don't like being wrongly accused. I need a just resolution to today's matter. Uncle Fu immediately understood. He straightened up and turned to Director Wang, the deference on his face instantly replaced by the gravitas of someone long in a position of power. Director Wang. His voice wasn't loud, but made Director Wang tremble. Uncle Fu, what are your instructions? Mr. Su is the Chun family's most honored guest. Did you hear what he just said? I heard. Director Wang nodded like a pecking chicken. I guarantee that this will be handled impartially. We will not let a single bad person go, nor will we wrong a single good person. After speaking, he shot a vicious glare at Su Haishan. Su Haishan's heart sank. He knew he had messed with the wrong people this time. Having offended the Chun family, forget about protecting Su Ming. Whether their Su family could even maintain its footing in Jinghai City was now a question. Second, I spoke again, looking at Su Bingyin. My engagement to Miss Su is merely a matter of convenience. Once I've cured Old Master Chun, our engagement will be null and void. Su Bingyin's delicate body trembled almost imperceptibly. She looked at me, her expression a whirlwind of complexity. There was shock, confusion, and a trace of disappointment she herself hadn't even noticed. She had thought she was in control of the situation, that she had me in her grasp. But in the end, she discovered I wasn't even on her chessboard. I was the one playing the game. Hearing my words, Uncle Fu glanced at Su Bingyin, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. It's understandable that even heroes have a weakness for beauty. Mr. Su, as long as you can cure the old master, forget one Su family. Even 10 Su families would be yours for the taking. Uncle Fu's words were delivered with immense authority. He was undoubtedly telling Su Bingyin not to get ahead of herself. What the Qin family could offer Mr. Su was far greater. The color drained from Su Bingyin's face, her expression turning colder. For the first time, she felt a sense of defeat at the hands of a man. Third, I held up 3 fingers. Cure the old master, and I want 10% of the Chun Group's shares. An outrageous demand. Everyone gasped. 10% of the Chun Group's shares. What did that even mean? It was worth hundreds of billions. Enough to elevate any family to the ranks of the world's top elite. But Uncle Fu didn't even blink, agreeing without a moment's hesitation. No problem. Forget 10%. If it means saving the old master's life, we wouldn't hesitate to give you the entire Chun family. His statement gave everyone a deeper understanding of Old Master Chen's condition and my medical skills. It seemed Old Master Chen was truly at death's door, and I was their only hope. Good. I nodded in satisfaction. Lead the way. Overjoyed, Uncle Fu immediately made an inviting gesture. I started walking, ready to get in the car. As I passed by Lin Wanxing, I stopped, ruffled her hair, and said softly, "Wait for me here. I'll be right back." Lin Wanxing nodded obediently, her eyes filled with adoration and worship. My hero was a peerless god. I then passed Su Bingyin. She looked at me. Her lips moved as if she wanted to say something, but in the end, she remained silent. Finally, I walked over to the ashen-faced Su Haishan and his wife. I looked at them and smiled. "Dad, Mom." That single dad, Mom, made them both tremble, their faces twisting into expressions of immense complexity and regret. "Thank you for kicking me out of the Su family. Otherwise, I never would have known just how wonderful the world outside is. With that, I ignored them and got straight into the Chun family's military-plated Audi. The convoy sped off, leaving a cloud of dust in its wake, leaving behind a group of people whose worldviews had been shattered, consumed by gut-wrenching regret. The old Chun family residence was nestled in a scenic garden in the western suburbs of Jinghai City, heavily guarded with sentries every few steps. This was the center of power for all of Jinghai City. Uncle Fu led me all the way into an antique-filled, traditional bedroom. The room was thick with a heavy scent of traditional Chinese medicine. Lying on the bed was a gaunt, ashen-faced old man. It was Chun Xian. His eyes were tightly shut, his breathing so faint it seemed it could stop at any moment. Several other people stood in the room, core members of the Chun family and a few doctors in white coats who looked like top specialists. Seeing Uncle Fu bring in a young man like me, everyone's expression turned to one of surprise and suspicion. "Uncle Fu, who is this?" A middle-aged man with a stern face asked. He was Chun Weigua, Chun Xian's eldest son and the current head of the Chun group. "Young master, this is the Mr. Su Zhe I mentioned to you." Uncle Fu introduced me respectfully. Chun Weigua looked me up and down, the suspicion in his eyes deepening. Too young. At this age, had he even graduated from medical school? Uncle Fu claimed he possessed extraordinary abilities, capable of curing a terminal illness that even the imperial physicians were powerless against. No matter how you looked at it, this seemed like a farce. Nonsense. A white-haired old doctor couldn't help but speak up. His name was Li Yuan, the most famous physician in the capital and old Master Chen's chief physician. "Uncle Fu, I know you're desperate to save your master, but you can't be so reckless in a crisis. Bringing in a young brat like this is irresponsible with the old master's life." The other specialists chimed in agreement. "That's right, the old master's body can't take any more strain. I doubt this young man can even properly read a pulse." Faced with their doubts, my expression remained calm. I didn't say a word. Uncle Fu was a little anxious and was about to explain for me, but I waved my hand, signaling that he didn't need to. I walked straight to the bedside and glanced at Chun Xian on the bed. With just one look, my god-level medical skills allowed me to instantly see all of his lesions. Years of campaigning had led to an accumulation of internal injuries. His 5 major organs all showed signs of failure, especially his heart, which was on the verge of collapse. His qi and blood were withered, and his life force was severed. In the words of modern medicine, it was multiple organ failure beyond the help of even the gods. He will undoubtedly die within 5 days. I spoke faintly. That one sentence made the entire room fall silent in an instant. Li Yuan and the other experts all looked at me with astonished eyes, because the result I stated was exactly the same as the conclusion they had reached after using the most advanced equipment and consulting for 3 days and 3 nights. They could reach this conclusion because of decades of experience and countless precision instruments. And I had only taken a single glance. How is this possible? Could it be that he really wasn't just talking nonsense? Chun Weigua's expression also changed, from suspicion just now to solemnity. "Sir, is there a way?" he asked tentatively, his form of address having changed. "Yes." I uttered a single word. The entire room was shocked. "Impossible." Li Yuan was the first to jump out and object. "The old master's illness is rooted in his qi and blood, originating from his life force. This is already a sign of a lamp running out of oil. It is fate, not something that can be reversed by human effort. You say you can cure him? You must be dreaming." "That's right. This violates medical common sense. Young man, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't just say whatever you want." I couldn't be bothered to explain to these mortals. I turned to look at Chun Weigua. "If you want him to live, then have them all leave. I don't want anyone to disturb my treatment." Chun Weigua hesitated. On one side was the highly respected team of national experts, and on the other was me, mysterious and yet speaking astonishing words. Who should he believe? "Young master, you mustn't," Li Yuan said anxiously. "If you hand the old master over to him, and something happens, who will be responsible?" Just then, Chun Xian, who had been unconscious, slowly opened his eyes. He looked at me, a sharp glint flashing in his cloudy eyes. "All of you, get out." He used all his strength to utter 3 words. "Dad, old master." Everyone was stunned. Chun Xian had been in a coma for 2 days and 2 nights, and now he had woken up. And he chose to believe me. "Listen to him." Chun Xian said 3 more words, and then passed out again. Chun Weiguo looked at me with an incredibly complicated expression. Finally, he took a deep breath and made a decision. "Everyone out." He ordered Li Yuan and the others, "Wait outside." "Young master." Li Yuan still wanted to persuade him. "Out." Chun Weiguo's voice left no room for doubt. Li Yuan and the others had no choice but to leave the room, resentfully. Uncle Fu also bowed to me, backed out, and closed the door. In the room, only Chun Xian on the bed and I were left. I took out an acupuncture kit from my pocket. I had asked Uncle Fu to prepare this before I came. I picked up a silver needle and aimed it at an acupoint near Chun Xian's heart. "You are very lucky," I said faintly as I administered the needle. "This set of 7-star life-extending needles of mine should not have appeared in this world. To be able to come back from the dead can be considered your good fortune." My voice was not loud, but it clearly entered the ears of the supposedly unconscious Chun Xian. His eyelids twitched imperceptibly. The corners of my mouth lifted slightly. I said no more and concentrated on administering the needles. My technique was as fast as lightning. One by one, the silver needles accurately pierced the major acupoints on Chun Xian's body. Tian Shu, Qihai, Guanyuan Shunke. As the silver needles were inserted, streams of pure internal energy were transferred through the needles into Chun Xian's withered meridians. This was the internal energy that came with the god-level medical skills. Although it wasn't much, it was enough to stimulate the life force of a dying man. I saw Chun Xian's ashen face begin to regain its color at a speed visible to the naked eye. His weak breathing also gradually became steady and strong. Outside the door, Li Yuan and the other experts were as anxious as ants on a hot pan. Nonsense. Simply nonsense. How can they let a young brat treat the old master? What if he uses the wrong needle and punctures the heart? Then even the gods can't save him. And young Master Chun, how could he believe such a charlatan? Listening to their discussion, Chun Weiguo's heart was also in turmoil, tense to the extreme. He had already prepared for the worst. If something really happened to his father, he would be the center of the Chun family. Just then, the door creaked open. I walked out, a trace of fatigue on my face. "It's done." Everyone's gaze instantly focused on me. "It's done? What's done?" Li Yuan was the first to rush forward, glaring at me. "Kid, what did you do to the old master? If anything happens to him, I'll have your life." With that, he hurriedly burst into the room. The others swarmed in after him. Then, in the next second, everyone froze as if turned to stone. On the hospital bed, Chun Xian, who had been at death's door just a moment ago, looking as if he could pass away at any second, was now sitting up on his own. Though he still appeared somewhat weak, his complexion was ruddy, and his eyes were bright. Where was the slightest trace of a dying man? Am I alive again?" Chun Xian looked down at his own hands, which had regained their color, and felt the renewed vitality flowing through his body. His voice was filled with incredible shock. "A miracle. This is simply a miracle." Li Yuan trembled as he stepped forward, grabbing Chun Xian's wrist to take his pulse. The more he checked, the more shocked his expression became, until finally, it transformed into fanatical reverence. Steady, forceful, abundant in qi and blood, overflowing with life. He whipped his head around to look at me, and under everyone's disbelieving eyes, he dropped to his knees with a thud. "Divine Doctor, please accept this old man's bow. Sir, please accept me as your disciple." Li Yuan, the master physician, was kneeling to ask for tutelage in public. This scene stunned everyone present. Who was Li Yuan? He was a figure at the pinnacle of Chinese traditional medicine in the country, an existence looked up to by countless doctors. Even a few of today's most powerful figures had to respectfully address him as Old Li. But now he was kneeling to a young man in his early 20s. If word of this got out, the entire capital would be shaken to its core. Chun Weiguo and the others were also dumbfounded. Their gazes, which had been filled with suspicion and gravity just moments ago, had now transformed into complete and utter awe and reverence. For someone to make even Li Yuan prostrate himself, how unfathomably high must his medical skills be? This could no longer be described as a divine doctor. This was an immortal. Dad! Chun Weigua snapped back to reality and rushed to the bedside, his voice choked with emotion. I'm Fina. Chun Xian waved a hand at him, then turned his burning gaze towards me, struggling to get out of bed. Old Master, Butler Fu quickly stepped forward to support him, but Chun Xian pushed him away. Under the astonished eyes of everyone present, he walked over to me, straightened his clothes, and then, facing me, gave a deep bow. Mr. Su, words cannot express my gratitude. From this day forward, you are my, Chun Xian's, savior, and the most honored friend of the Chun family. The entire Chun family is at your disposal. His bow signified that the entire Chun family had lowered its proud head to me. I accepted his gesture with composure. You're too kind, old Master Chun, I said faintly. I treat your illness, you pay the fee. It's just a fair trade. My calm and indifference made Chun Xian regard me in an even higher light. Neither arrogant nor impatient, neither servile nor overbearing. This young man was no ordinary person. Rest assured, sir, when I, Chun Xian, give my word, it is as good as gold. He turned to Chun Weigua and said, Weigua, go at once. Transfer 10% of the Chun Group's shares to Mr. Su's name. Yes, Chun Weigua responded without the slightest hesitation. Never mind 10%. Even if it were 50%, he would feel it was worth it right now. Money lost could be earned again, but his father's life was priceless. Also, Chun Xian looked at Butler Fu. Prepare the car. I am going to the municipal bureau personally to demand justice for Mr. Su. His voice was not loud, but it was filled with an unquestionable authority. The Chun family members present all felt a chill in their hearts. They knew the old master was about to unleash his power. The Su family was in for a world of trouble. Municipal Public Security Bureau. Su Bingyan and Lin Wanqing were still waiting at the entrance. The Su Haishan couple hadn't left either. It seemed they were waiting for a result. Chief Wang was in his office, pacing restlessly. He didn't dare to offend either side, so all he could do was stall. Just then, the piercing wail of sirens grew from a distance. A dozen police motorcycles cleared the way, escorting several military-plated autists that pulled up grandly at the bureau's entrance. This procession was even grander than when Butler Fu had arrived. Chief Wang was so frightened he scrambled out of his office. When he saw an old man, weak, yet full of vigor and natural authority, step out of the lead car, his legs went weak on the spot. Chun, old Master Chun. He never would have dreamed that this legendary figure, who already had one foot in the grave, would personally come to his territory. When Su Haishan and his wife saw Chun Xian, they were scared out of their wits. They racked their brains, but couldn't fathom why Su Zhou was able to summon such a titan. Su Bingyan and Lin Wanqing were also stunned, especially Su Bingyan. On her perpetually icy face, shock was once again written all over. She had thought I would solve the problem, but she never imagined it would be in such a manner, like a king descending upon the scene. I followed Chun Xian and got out of the car. Upon seeing me, Chun Xian immediately broke into an amiable smile, proactively came over to support my arm, his posture exceedingly humble. Mr. Su, you have been wronged. This scene made everyone's eyes nearly pop out of their sockets. Chun Xian was actually trying to curry favor with Su Zhe. Chief Wang was on the verge of tears by now, and he scrambled and crawled his way over to Chun Xian. Elder, why have you come? This is all a misunderstanding. Chun Xian shot him a cold glance, the kind of look one gives a dead man. A misunderstanding, he snorted coldly. My, Chun Xian's savior was nearly handcuffed like a criminal on your territory, and you tell me this is a misunderstanding. With a thud, Chief Wang dropped directly to his knees. Elder, I was wrong. I was blind and failed to recognize a great man. I beg you, spare me just this once. Chun Xian ignored him, his gaze shifting to the ashen-faced Su Haishan and his wife. Su Haishan, Li Rong. I recall, 20 years ago, when your Su family was on the brink of bankruptcy, it was I who took pity on you and lent you a hand. I had thought you would know gratitude, but I never expected you to raise a beast like Su Ming and to cast out a true dragon like Mr. Su as if he were garbage. Your Su family, truly something else. Every word he spoke was like a heavy hammer, slamming mercilessly into the hearts of Su Haishan and his wife. Their bodies swayed, on the verge of collapse, their faces ghastly pale and utterly drained of color. Elder Chun, Su Haishan tried to plead, but he couldn't even form a complete sentence. From this day forward, there will be no Su family in Jinghai. Chun Xian calmly pronounced the Su family's death sentence. My Chun family, and all partners associated with us, will immediately terminate all cooperation with the Su group and impose the most severe sanctions against them. I'd like to see just how many days your Su family can last. With that said, he spared the ashen-faced couple, now limp on the ground, no further glance, and turned to me with a smile. Mr. Su, are you satisfied with this outcome? I nodded. Thank you for your trouble, Elder Chun. It was my duty. Chun Xian smiled, and his gaze fell upon Su Bingyin and Lin Wanqing, who stood behind me. He glanced back and forth between the two girls, a playful look in his eyes. Mr. Su, you are truly a fortunate man. I just wonder which of these two lovely ladies is to be the future granddaughter-in-law of our Chun family? His words were clearly meant to put pressure on Su Bingyin on my behalf. You want to break off your engagement with Mr. Su? Fine. The moment you do, our Chun family will be at the door with a marriage proposal. Su Bingyin's delicate body trembled. For the first time, a flicker of an emotion called panic appeared in her icy, phoenix-like eyes. Su Bingyin was flustered. For the first time in a matter outside of work, she felt a sense of powerlessness, a loss of control. She looked at Chun Xian's all-seeing eyes, then at my calm profile, and a whirlwind of emotions churned within her. She had originally thought of me as just an interesting toy, a variable that brought a bit of novelty to her life. She enjoyed the process of controlling me, of uncovering my secrets. But now, she discovered that this toy had grown into an existence she could no longer control, one she might even have to look up to. Break the engagement? The moment Chun Xian mentioned the Chun family's granddaughter-in-law, that thought was utterly banished from her mind. What a joke. Hand over a true dragon like Suja to someone else? To the Chun family, of all people? She, Su Bingyin, would never allow it. This man could only be hers. An unprecedented wave of possessiveness surged wildly within her heart. Elder Chun, you jest. Su Bingyin took a deep breath, suppressed the turmoil in her heart, and regained her composure as the ice-cold CEO. She walked gracefully to my side and, once again, in front of everyone, naturally linked her arm with mine. The gesture was an unmistakable declaration of her claim. In life, Suja is a man of my Su family. In death, he is a ghost of my Su family. She looked at Chun Xian, her gaze firm and unwavering. He will forever and always be my fiancée, Su Bingyin's fiancée. Her words were delivered with absolute finality. Not only was Chun Xian stunned, but even I was taken aback. I looked at the woman beside me with some astonishment. Her exquisite face was filled with such earnestness and determination. There wasn't the slightest hint of an act. This crazy woman, it seems she has truly fallen. Chun Xian looked at her, first stunned, then burst into laughter. Good. What to live is to be a person of the Su family. To die is to be a ghost of the Su family. Miss Su, you have more guts than your grandfather. He looked at me and winked. Mr. Su, it seems my Chun family is not so fortunate. I smiled and said nothing. Meanwhile, Lin Wanqing, standing to the side, looked at Su Bingyin clinging intimately to my arm, and a trace of sadness flashed across her gentle eyes. She silently took a step back, distancing herself from us. I took in this subtle movement. I sighed inwardly. It seemed it was time to make a clean break with this crazy woman, Su Bingyin. The Su family was finished. Under the Chun family's thunderous measures, this family that once held sway in Jinghai City didn't even last a day. The stock market crashed, banks called in debts, partners terminated their contracts one after another, and their businesses were seized. Su Haishan's hair turned white overnight, and Li Rong was so enraged that she had a stroke and was hospitalized. And Su Ming, that arrogant, true young master, had a complete mental breakdown after learning of the family's bankruptcy in the hospital, becoming a giggling fool. I heard all of this later. I had no interest in the fate of these losers. At this moment, I was sitting in Su Bingyin's luxurious penthouse apartment, watching her personally make me a cup of coffee. Try it, I just learned. She handed me the coffee, a hint of expectation in her eyes. I took the coffee and took a sip. It was bitter and didn't taste good, but I still nodded, not bad. Receiving my praise, a girlish shyness and joy actually appeared on her icy face. As long as you like it, I'll make it for you every day from now on. I put down the coffee cup, looked at her, and decided to lay my cards on the table. Su Bindiang. She looked up, her beautiful phoenix eyes like a pool of spring water, so gentle they could drown a person. Our agreement should end, I said calmly. The smile on her face froze instantly. What? What do you mean? My mission is complete, I said. Su Ming is taken care of, and the Su family has fallen. According to our agreement, our engagement is automatically dissolved. You should also give me the 100 million you promised. The air in the study seemed to freeze in that instant. The color drained from Su Bingyin's face, leaving it pale. She looked at me, her eyes filled with disbelief and hurt. Su Se, are you joking with me? I never joke. I looked into her eyes and said, word for word, between us, it was just a transaction. Now, the transaction is over. Transaction. Su Bingyin murmured these two words, her body trembling slightly. She suddenly laughed, a somewhat desolate laugh. So from beginning to end, you were just using me, weren't you? Your kindness to me, your concern for me, it was all fake? You wouldn't even touch me. Was it because you saw me as just a business partner? Her voice held a hint of a sob. I fell silent. I hadn't expected this strong woman to care so much about these things. Su Bingyin, we're not right for each other. I sighed. What you want is a man you can control, and I just want to lie flat. We're not from the same world. No. She stood up excitedly, walked around the desk, and came to me. I can change for you. I can ignore the company. I can learn to cook, to do housework. I can become anything you like, as long as you don't leave me. She grabbed my hand, her once cold and proud eyes now filled with humble pleading. I looked at her, feeling a little reluctant, but it's better to make a clean break. Slowly, one by one, I pried her fingers open. I am sorry. I stood up and walked towards the door without looking back. Suse. Her tearful cry came from behind me. If you leave, don't ever come back. My footsteps paused for a moment. In the end, I didn't turn back, opened the door, and walked out. Outside the door, Uncle Fu was already waiting for me with men from the Chun family. Mr. Su, the share transfer agreement is ready. You just need to sign. I took the document and signed my name. From today on, I am the second largest shareholder of the Chun Group, with a net worth of billions. Also, the private jet you requested is ready and can take off at any time, Uncle Fu said respectfully. Good, let's go. I got in the car and left this apartment where I had stayed for only a few days. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Su Bingyin chase after me. She was in a thin nightgown, barefoot, standing at the door, dazedly watching my car drive away. That stunningly beautiful face was covered in tears. I looked away and closed my eyes. Would be Su Bindian. Goodbye, Jinghai City. My goal is the sea of stars and all the delicacies of the world. 1 year later, the Aegean Sea on a private island. I was in beach shorts and sunglasses, lying comfortably on a beach chair, enjoying a sunbath. Beside me, a hot beauty in a bikini was feeding me grapes. Darling, is this sweet? Her name is Lu Fei, an international supermodel and a dancer, whom I met while traveling the globe. Not far away, a petite girl in a 2D world-made costume was by the sea, bouncing and singing an otaku dance song. Her name is Chun Xiao Xiao, a cute and soft girl, and also a top-tier voice actress, whom I picked up at an anime convention in Japan. And on the villa's balcony, a girl with a cool and aloof temperament was elegantly playing the piano, the melodious sound drifting with the wind. She is Lin Wanqing. After the Su family fell, I brought her out too, to travel the world with me. As for that white moonlight, Xianin, too young, still in school. We'll see after she graduates. This is what you call lying flat. Just as I was enjoying this divine life, Uncle Fu hurried over with his satellite phone. Sir, Miss. Miss Su is on the phone. I frowned. For the past year, Su Bingyan had tried to call me countless times, and I had rejected them all. How'd she find Uncle Fu? I took the phone with some impatience. Hello. From the other end came a voice that was both familiar and strange and weak. Su say. It's me. I am dying. I have stomach cancer, late stage. The doctor said I won't live for more than a month. Can you come back to see me one last time? I fell silent. Late stage stomach cancer? This news was like a giant boulder smashing into the calm lake of my heart, stirring up 1,000 waves. How could this be? She was only in her 20s. How could she get this kind of disease? Su say. Are you listening? On the other end, Su Bingyan's voice grew weaker, accompanied by a suppressed cough. I'm not trying to force you to come back. I just want to see you again before I die. Just one look, okay? Her voice was filled with a humble plea, which made my heart ache. In my mind, her cold, beautiful face and the eyes that had shed tears for me involuntarily appeared. Which hospital are you in? I finally spoke. On the other end, I heard her gasp of relief and a hint of irrepressible joy. Jinghai City, First People's Hospital. Wait for me. I hung up the phone and stood up from the beach chair. What's wrong, darling? Lu Feifei asked with concern. It's nothing. An old friend is sick. I have to go back and see her. I ruffled her hair. Uncle Fu, prepare the jet. Back to Jinghai. Yes, sir. The private jet cut through the sky, and a few hours later, it landed at the airport in Jinghai City. I didn't alert anyone and took a taxi alone to the First People's Hospital. In the VIP ward area, I found Su Bingyan's room. At the door stood 2 solemn-looking bodyguards. When they saw me, they were stunned for a moment, then respectfully opened the door for me. I pushed the door open and was hit by the strong smell of disinfectant. On the hospital bed lay a woman so thin she was out of shape. She was wearing a large hospital gown, her face as pale as paper. Her hair had fallen out due to chemotherapy, and she was wearing a hat. If it weren't for the familiar contours of her face, I would hardly have recognized her as the once magnificent and aloof Ice Queen CEO. In just 1 year, how did she become like this? Hearing the door open, she slowly opened her eyes. When she saw it was me, her dull eyes instantly burst with astonishing brilliance. Susei, you really came. She struggled to sit up, but didn't have a shred of strength. I quickly walked to the bedside and held her down. Don't move. My voice was a little hoarse. She looked at me and smiled, but tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. I thought, you would never see me again. I made coffee for you. It's still the way you like it. Cough, cough. She pointed to the thermos on the bedside table, but before she could finish, she began to cough violently. I quickly supported her and gently patted her back. My hand touched her bony back, and a pain as sharp as a needle pierced my heart. At the same time, my divine medical skills instantly perceived her physical condition. Then I was stunned. Her body was perfectly healthy. Her organs were all in order. Never mind stomach cancer. She didn't even have the slightest ailment. Then why had she become like this? The only explanation, a sickness of the heart. Extreme longing and depression had caused her bodily functions to decline, leading to a loss of appetite, and thus extreme weight loss and a withered appearance. This foolish woman, she wasn't sick at all. She was just torturing herself in this way. You lied to me. I looked at her, my eyes filled with a complex mix of emotions. Su Bingyan's body stiffened, the smile on her face freezing. You don't have stomach cancer at all. I expose her lie, word by word. Her face instantly turned deathly pale, her eyes darting about in a panic, not daring to meet mine. I'm sorry. She bit her lip, her voice as faint as a mosquito's buzz. I missed you too much. I was afraid I would never see you again. Seeing her pitiful appearance, the anger I felt at being deceived vanished in an instant. All that remained was endless heartache and helplessness. What could I say? A woman who had once been so proud had tortured herself to this state, even resorting to lies to deceive me, just for a chance to see me. How could I possibly blame her? I sighed, sat down on the edge of the bed, and took her cold hand in mine. Silly girl. Hearing these two words, Su Bingyin could no longer hold back and burst into tears. Like a wronged child, she released all the longing, pain, and grievances of the past year in a flood of tears. I didn't speak, just sat with her quietly, letting her vent. After crying for a long time, she slowly quieted down, leaning against my chest like a small cat seeking shelter. Suja, don't leave me again, okay? She lifted her head, looking at me with her red, swollen eyes, a pitiful expression on her face. I don't want anything. I just want you to be with me. I don't care how many women you have by your side. I really don't. As long as you let me stay by your side, even just to glance at you, I'll be content. Seeing her so humbled, my heart felt as if it were being twisted by a knife. Could I still refuse her? Could I still push her away as cruelly as I had a year ago? I couldn't. I leaned down and gently kissed away the tears on her face. Then, I planted a gentle kiss on her forehead. Okay, I promise you, from now on, we'll never be apart again. Hearing my promise, Su Bingyin's eyes instantly lit up with a brilliance brighter than the stars. She threw her arms around me, using all her strength, as if trying to merge herself into my body. Thank you, Suse. Thank you. Holding her emaciated body, my heart was filled with a mix of emotions. A fateful, yet troublesome, connection. Since she wasn't sick, there was naturally no need for her to be hospitalized. I immediately processed her discharge papers. As for the reason for her terminal illness being cured, I just say that I, the divine doctor, had intervened and cured her with my miraculous skills. My reputation preceded me, so no one would doubt it. I took Su Bingyin back to my villa in Jinghai City. This villa was a gift from the Chen family and had been vacant all this time. In the following days, I canceled all my travel plans and dedicated myself to staying in Jinghai and accompanying Su Bingyin. Under my meticulous care, her body recovered at a visible rate. Color returned to her face, and her weight gradually increased. The once stunningly beautiful and aloof female CEO was back. The only difference was that the icy coldness that once surrounded her had completely melted away. In front of me, she was just a woman who would act coquettishly, get jealous, and cling to me. She dismissed all the maids and personally cooked for me, taking care of every aspect of my life with meticulous attention, and I tacitly accepted her presence. However, I never touched her again. It wasn't that I didn't want to, but that I couldn't, because Lu Feifei, Lin Wanxing, and the others had also flown back to Jinghai from the island with me. A war without gunpowder had quietly begun in my villa. Today, Lu Feifei would wear a sexy yoga outfit and show off her amazing flexibility in front of me. Tomorrow, Chun Xiaoxiao would change into a cute cat-eared maid costume and perform an adorable otaku dance for me. The day after, Lin Wanxing would play a moving piano piece and sing a gentle love song for me. And Su Bingyin, with her queen-like aura and meticulous care, would defend her position as the main wife. Every day I lived in this kind of deep water and scorching fire. Painful, yet blissful. I thought these kinds of days would continue forever. Until that day, an unexpected person found me. A man who claimed to be my biological father. He told me I was not a book transmigrator. I was the long-lost sole heir of the top wealthy family in the capital, the Long family. And my life-flat system was an adulthood gift from my father, the head of the Long family, who also possessed a system. My worldview, once again, was overturned. So, I wasn't on the first level, I was fucking on the 5th level. Looking at this cheap old dad in front of me with a gratified expression of, son, you've finally grown up. I just want to say one thing. Can you just let a person lie flat properly? End of the book. Dear, can you rate this story in the comment section? Using a 10-point scale, please. If you like this type of story, please follow.